This is the Rise and Be Rich show, where we focus on accelerating your business one masterclass at a time. Here are your hosts, Ahana and Daniel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rise and Be Rich show, where we help you accelerate your business and create your best life, one masterclass at a time. I'm Daniel, and I welcome you to this special episode called The Element of Gratitude, how you can shift your success. We always talk about gratitude, and you've probably heard a lot in interviews around how people can support you in your transformation. But today we want you to feel the power of it. And in order to help us feel this powerful gratitude, we've invited the special guest, Karen Chaston. Karen is a moving beyond loss expert, author, international speaker, and former CFO of a public listed company. She's also the executive producer and host of Live, Love by Design TV. Karen's suffering and disappointments may become the catalyst for her personal and spiritual growth, leading her to co-found Live, Love by Design. And where she lost her son, Dan, who passed away in 2011, Ahana told me about Karen's story and really just about the transformation, how it really resonated with me. I lost my sister myself a couple of years back, so I definitely knew that we can sit there and, link with that in here. And, I know about huge loss. I know about suffering. And I really like how you've embraced that gratitude and helped, move people along through it. Let's just get straight to it. Everyone, let's welcome Karen to the show. Thank you for coming on Rise and Be Rich. And thank you for sharing your story and insights.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Okay, so Karen, as an entrepreneur, setting up a business can be tough. We all know that, but as you're going through a crisis, especially a loss, it can be even tougher, let's be honest. So my first question is, when you're going through an experience of loss or pain, how do you work with it and still return back to creating a business, creating a career, and keep going on this path?
Well, everyone should do exactly what I didn't do.
Okay.
Which is you need to stop that. After any sort of loss, and before we go into the actual steps to recover, Daniel, Did you know that the Grief Recovery Institute actually shares with us there are over 40 different loss events that can affect our lives?
Wow.
I know.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's wow.
No, and that's a lot when we think about it. And most of the time we don't realize that most people are actually going through a loss scenario. Mm-hmm. Sure, that the most common ones are death of a loved one or friend, a divorce, a separation, losing your job, your health, your wealth. But there's so many things that people are actually going through. And in this busy world that we all live in, we don't realize that people are suffering. Mm-hmm. And as you will know, with, your sister passing, you get about a week of people's time and that's about it. And then it's over. Get over it, stop talking about it, move on. And it's not the way that it works. We have a lot of loss in our life, and there's a reason why we have a lot of loss in our life. It's so that we can learn to grow and become the people who we came here to be. And of course it's sad, and of course, especially when it's the death of a loved one, we want them here with us. But to understand that the best way that we can recover, and let's face it, we are never going to be the same again. So figure out who we want to be and how to become that new person. The first requirement is for us to stop. And I don't know if you did that. What was your sister's name?
Shalona, yeah. And it was very sudden. It was like before, it was probably about, it was literally a couple of months before her 40th birthday, come out of the blue. She was like, in hospital having some issues. And then all of a sudden it was like, it was blood poisoning. So all of a sudden it got into her heart, and we were just all in shock, really. And like you say, that week, you tell everyone on, social media, come to the funeral and everything like that. But it takes weeks to process it, let alone get over it. And that's what I found. You sit there and you try and go back to work again, and your brain, it's just not there. I mean, you sit there and you go through the motions, but you definitely haven't recovered. And like you say, it's not something you can say is a month, is 2 months, is a year, because like you say, you never get over that loss. But going back to work is a bad idea. I did the same thing myself, and you're foggy. Your brain's just not with it.
No, but not only that, you haven't even processed everything. And there's a lot between relationships, and we all have hopes, dreams, and aspiration with every relationship in our life, no matter what it is. So when it ends, especially suddenly, it's about us going, what does this mean? Like, you know, I am a great believer that love never dies, it just transforms. And I'm a great believer that when we pass, we're still around in every way except the physical.
Yep.
And it's really important for us to take that time to actually take it all in and say, well, what does this mean? And to work through the relationship, because every relationship has ups and downs, and we have to take our responsibility. We also have to forgive and, you know, ourselves as much as others. And there's a lot to process. And I'm not saying we stop forever, but just taking that conscious loving breath and actually going, what does this actually mean? And then saying, who do I want to be after this? It takes time. And there's no set time. You know, for one person, it could be a month, 2 months. I know a lady her husband passed, and within 2 months, and he had been sick for a while, within 2 months she was dating again. And most people like shunned her. They said, oh, how can you? That's just not right. And it's like, how do you know it's not right? Like, how do you know what their relationship was like? How do you know, what they discussed and all these sort of things? And it's like, good on you, because there is no set time. Which is, I think, is great.
Yeah, no, exactly. For those listening in, can you please give us some context and share your story? What brought you to create Live, Love by Design?
Okay, so back in July 2011, I was a CFO of a publicly listed company. In hindsight, I was working too much, drinking too much, and eating way too much. If anyone had said to me at that time, oh, how do you cope with stress? I would have said, I never get stressed. But all of my habits were screaming that I was stressed to the max.
Yep.
And on Sunday, the 10th of July, my husband and I woke up thinking we were going to have a lazy day at home. But within 15 minutes, we found that our son, Dan, had passed away at our back door a couple of hours earlier, which wasn't good. And as we briefly discussed, I literally went straight back to work after his funeral, probably, working even more and just trying to carry on with life and not realizing that I disrespected him. I disrespected myself. And more importantly, I didn't realize that I was never going to be the same. So why was I carrying on as though, I was still the same? And, I made a few bad decisions that year because I didn't take the time to stop. And then within 15 months, the company that I was working for was merging with another.
Yep.
And in that merger process, they said to me, you won't be CFO of the new company, but you will be doing more or less everything you're doing now and more. And I just went, that's okay. I don't really care what my title is. Well, it was okay until they decided to tell me that my salary was going to be 2/3 of my current salary.
Yeah.
And that's when I stopped. And that's when I really went inside and I really started to ask myself some really tough questions. And I came to the realization that it was the money that was only keeping me there. I had thought I loved my job and I was really good at my job. And I just thought, this isn't what I want to do. And I looked at myself, like really looked at myself. And I was a lot heavier then. Then I was, totally diseased and I didn't even realize it. And I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's when I went on this journey to actually figuring out who I wanted to be. I like to say that I looked in the mirror and I heard the words, Elvis has left the building, except it was Karen has left the building. And it was really a real eye-awakener for me. And to realize that my eyes were dead. I have photos of me then and my eyes were like glazed over and I really had left on a soul level more than anything else. And I heard a saying only a couple of years ago, so probably about 4 or 5 years after I decided to choose redundancy from that role,
Yep.
I heard a saying that says, if you're always angry, you need more green in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I was always angry. Like, it took nothing for me to fly off the handle, especially after Dan died. And I then went one step further and I thought, I'm never angry now, because I green juice every morning and I love my green juice. But then I thought, wait a minute, green's the colour of the heart chakra. And I needed more love in my life, not only for all of my relationships, but also for myself. I had really forgotten about me in my journey to being successful in my career. I had lost me. And in hindsight, so had a lot of my colleagues, like knowing who they were and the people that they had become. And I just thought, no wonder the world is in such a mess. When you look at a lot of the corporations, it's like you've got to leave yourself at home, and we can't.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we just lose so much.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
No, I did that. No, that's great. That's that gives people a little bit of context about why I did it. And like, just to touch on what you're saying there, I think a lot of people like think they love what they do, but it's only when something like to be honest, the company was disrespecting you, they're offering you 2/3 of the price to do exactly the same role, and that, I suppose, is that wake up that you needed, where it was like, no, I'm going to go follow my passion and do something that I love and honor your son at the same time as you're doing it. So no, that's great. Yeah.
And I didn't even realize, in my CFO role, I was, second in charge, and I would stand back and I would look at the CEO and I'd go, wow, I couldn't do that. I couldn't stand up in front of people and talk like that and do all this sort of stuff. And here I am. I just love it. On stages all the time. I love it. It's like, get the hook and drag her off. I just love it so much. Yep. But it's because I have a passionate subject. Yes. I love what I'm talking about. And, talking about financials can be a little bit boring at the time, even though I loved doing that work. I know it was my stepping stone to come to who I am today. Who we are today are a sum of all of our experiences.
Correct.
And incorporating, even though you would think, being an accountant, the CFO, is completely different to being a beyond loss expert, it's not. Because I understand people and I understand profits.
Yep.
So I understand that you need both, and that both of them, to be healthy, you need to feed them both. And if you're starving your employees, which a lot of people are, and in the fact that they're just working them, they're not allowing them to be, to bring innovation into their role. They're not allowing them to share their ideas and things like that. It's just, they're just working them. So therefore they're starving them of their creativity. Mm-hmm. No wonder their profits are not where they would like them to be.
Yeah. We wanted to focus on gratitude in this episode. So how important is it to have that, deep gratitude while overcoming challenges like the ones that we face, and really just have purpose in life?
They're so important. It's so important. And I'm not even sure if you're aware, Daniel, after Dan passed, like when I started on this journey of coming back to, I like to call it the journey to becoming my own best friend. When I started on that, someone suggested to me, why don't you start writing in a gratitude journal? And I did, and I loved it. I loved it so much, though, that when I was buying gratitude journals to, do my daily practice, I found them to be so beautiful on the outside, but just blank pages on the inside. So I created my own 4 elements. They're called the Elements Collection Gratitude Journal. So there's 4 of them: the air, water, earth, and fire. And they are pretty on the inside as well as the outside, just because I thought, when you're writing about gratitude, it's so nice to have beautiful things around you, not only to be grateful for, but I just feel when you have things around you that lift you straight away, like lift your energy and lift you into that space, you then find even more to be grateful for. And to be quite honest, anyone who lives in a Western country, we have absolutely nothing to carry on about. We have so much to be grateful for, especially in Australia. Like in Australia, we have no borders to anywhere else. like, it's amazing the fact that we really are the lucky country. I don't care what anyone says. I just think we just have everything to be grateful for. And the more that you do have great gratitude for, the more you actually receive in so many ways.
And for those listening in, I think that my reality check was when I first went to Bali. And that was probably the first time I got out of, that was the first time I got out of Australia. And it's just that big reality check, that paradigm shift, to use that word. And then when I went over for work in Asia, I was working in Singapore and Malaysia, going back and forward. And I mean, when I was in Malaysia, I'm like, wow, this is like first world country, big skyscrapers, but there's still so much poverty there, and people working $2 Australian an hour. And I'm like, what? And it was like, just, yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, yeah, so we got so much to be grateful for in these, Western countries. And sure, I think people don't notice it because they get caught up in their own life. They don't actually focus on, what we have. We have a roof over our head. We have technology. We have all these amazing things. And it's not until you really just get out into the world and see what other people don't have that we start becoming grateful for what we do. So,
and what's really funny when you travel too, you look at these people from our perspective and you think, oh my God, they're living so poorly. But if you look at their faces, they're
happy.
They are so happy.
Yep.
And it just radiates out of them, and they just love their families, but they love all generations of their families, no matter how young or how old they are, which is really beautiful. And you sort of think sometimes, too much makes you not a nice person.
No, it is, isn't it? It's that whole perspective. That's what I said. To me, it was paradigm shift, and that was what I was saying too. Some of these people, you say that they had nothing, but they were happy. They were going and doing their prayers each day, like I say, to live with generations with them, and completely happy. So
and they would share.
Yes,
they have very little, but they're happy to share. Whereas we're also can be so greedy and so like, oh, someone's trying to rip me off. It's a scam, and you just go, is it?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And travel is, I think it was Mark Twain that said, to broaden a person, you have to travel. It was something along those lines, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah, no, it does. All right, then when we come back after this short break, we'll get into using the power of gratitude in your life and in your business. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side of these messages. Are you ready to accelerate your wealth and success in life and in your business? Join Ahana and Daniel for powerful, transformative episodes that will help you step out of lack and into your power of creation. Step into your ability and build and grow wealth and create conscious businesses that make a difference. In each of the episodes, we'll break through imprints of lack and struggle and create imprints of prosperity, purpose, and happiness. We will talk growth strategies in your business, learn how to create massive online presence, visibility, and influence in the market that make your business a magnet for effortless success, clients, and opportunities. We will shift your marketing for high growth. We'll grow your confidence as a powerful leader in your niche. Stay tuned to each episode of The Rise and Be Rich Show and receive your free gifts and bonuses. Join us at www.ahanalara.com/RBR show. Let's rise and be rich together. Welcome back to Rise and Be Rich. We're talking with Beyond Loss life coach, author and speaker, Karen Chaston, and the power of gratitude. Karen, you created a very unique series of gratitude journals. We did touch on that a bit, and you created that collection of water, air, fire, and earth elements. So why did you really do this, and how do these elements help in anchoring gratitude? Like, I know you said it's the pretty pictures and the stuff that's there, but do you want to explain that a little bit more for the people?
So how I created them, or yes. Why? Well, I've explained why I created them.
Yeah, no, but how did you create them? How did you put the pictures in, and how did you really bring it out?
So the first one I created was water, and this idea just came to me, and honestly, Daniel, I don't know if you realise this, but I have ideas planted in my head all the time, and I just swear that it is from my son Dan, who's on the other side, because these amazing ideas, there's no way I would have ever thought of them. So I give him the credit for them. So I started when I started on this new phase of my life, I would walk every morning. At that stage, I lived in Narrabeen, just a block away from the beach and just near the lagoon in Narrabeen in Sydney. Yeah, and I would take photos and, sunrises, sunsets and all this sort of stuff. And I love taking photos, and you got to love the world we live in. It's all on our iPhone, and they're pretty good photos. So when this idea came to me about creating a gratitude journal, I thought, I'll do water first because I have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of water photos. So I started that, and so I decided there would be 99 pages because 99 is a great energy number. And in the front section, I explain the element, what it's about. I have a little poem in the front. I will also explain chakras, where they are in our bodies and what they do. And I also, so when we get into the 99 pages of the gratitude, on the left-hand side of the page, we have a page number at the top, which is a chakra color. And you're advised in the front with the instructions that each day, whatever day you're on, read what that chakra is and focus in on your chakras. So over 7 days, you've balanced your chakras each week. Then there's a unique photo, which I have taken all of them except for fire, because I figured I can't take fire photos. So they've all come from different sources in the fire journal. And then down the bottom is a unique gratitude saying. Over the 4 journals, 400 quotes, they're all unique. And then on the right hand side of the page, you write your gratitude, and in the front it's advised to just, you know, pick 3 to 5 things to be grateful for, make it different every day, but tune into yourself and evoke all of your senses in what you are actually grateful for, because it's surprising. It could be something as unique as the smell of a flower. And, you know, different seasons, you obviously get different smells and things like that. Because the smaller the thing is, it's amazing. It could be just the fact that you smiled at someone, or someone smiled at you, a total stranger, one day. So there's so many things to be grateful for. And it's the more, I guess, unique and minute it is, the more it actually builds. Because then you start to realise, I have nothing to complain about.
And I think you just hit that really word, unique. That's one thing, you know, gratitude isn't going to be the same for me is what it's going to be for you. Like, we all have little things that we can be grateful for. And I mean, something that makes you happy, like you said, the smallest little thing, that's what you need to embrace every day. Because I mean, there's so much amazing stuff happening every day. Like something simple like going for a walk and just sitting there. Like, there's lots of, on the Gold Coast, so we've got lots of beaches as well. We've got lots of lakes here where we are, because I'm a little bit from the beach. Every time you go for a walk, you're seeing, you know, turtles and swans and cormorants and, you know, you name it. There's all these birds, ducks everywhere. Like, I mean, it's just beautiful things in nature. And I mean, yes, we're in suburbia, but we've always got this beauty around us as well.
Totally. I totally agree. And I found that the more that I did it, the more that life just flowed a lot easier. And you didn't get as stressed about some things. You learned to, I guess, you know, not sweat the small stuff sort of thing. And you realise there is so much that is outside of our control. So what's the point of complaining about it? Like weather, for example. Like, how many people carry on about the weather, and it's like, but you can't do anything about it. So why not just enjoy the day? You know, if it's raining, the sun is still shining behind the clouds and you can still get that energy. So what are you really complaining about? And it's just a little bit of water. Does it really matter? Things like that. So simple.
Now, so let's bring this on to gratitude and how entrepreneurs can use it. So there'll be a lot of entrepreneurs going through these tough life challenges. How can they use gratitude to bring back awareness and start releasing their struggle and really just make decisions from a better place?
Okay. Well, so let's go. I'm just going to, because it came to me. If you have employees, I got an email the other day from a guy who actually said to me that they started every morning coming together in a gratitude circle, and they would all just say out loud one thing that they would be grateful for, either that they achieved yesterday or that they would like to achieve today. And he found that not only did they become more productive, they also became more aligned. They really started to understand each other, and they became more collaborative. Now, that's a very simple thing to do. Okay, some people may be just an entrepreneur by themselves and they might not have employees. But I find that I am an entrepreneur who is very much teach me how to fish. Okay, so if I don't know how to do something, I will learn how to do something.
Yep.
And then once I learn it, I will pass it on to someone else. Because then you know, if you're paying someone just to say to update your website, you know that you could have done it in, just say, half an hour. So why are they charging you for 2 hours? You know, this little things like that. So it's about knowing who you are, but also being grateful for your customers. A lot of people, you know, I remember the old saying years ago, I'd have a really good business if it wasn't for the customers. And you just sort of go, but wait a minute, you would have no business without the
Exactly.
customers.
Yeah.
But it's not only, it's also listening to them, asking them how you can improve, because they're the ones that will give you the great advice, and they will do you a favor by complaining. You know, years ago I worked as a financial controller in a hotel, and they used to hate getting complaints. And it was like, no, wait a minute. If they don't complain, you can't fix something. How many people walk out and never tell you, and they never come back? So it's also viewing the being grateful for something that you may think is negative, but turn it around and just go, okay, what does this mean? And how can I grow? And how can I improve my business from this?
It's interesting that you say that, because in this day and age, it was actually when we were in London last year, we went and stayed at this hotel, and probably one of the first times I never read a review on the hotel, and we just looked at the photos. When we got there, it wasn't like the photos. It was a really bad hotel. If I just had gone on TripAdvisor or something like that, I would have known to stay away. So I see in the digital age, it's more important than ever to make sure that you get on top of them things in your business. Because it doesn't matter what business you've got, you need to make sure that public face is obviously really good.
It is like that. Last year we were in, my son he's married a Polish girl. They live in Australia, but we went to Poland for their wedding. So when we travelled around, we did a lot of Airbnb, and I have to say the photos made it look a lot bigger than what some of them were.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
So what's some other practices and exercises? Obviously, we've got the one about if you're in a group, you can come together.
Yep.
What's some other practices or exercises they can use for daily gratitude if somebody obviously is a solopreneur, and just something that can really just get them empowered and fired up for the day?
Okay. A great thing that I like to do is I'm in competition with one person, and that's yesterday me. So understanding who yesterday you were, and then start to track how you're growing, because as an entrepreneur, sometimes you feel like you're going nowhere. Whereas if you start to track exactly, you know, where you were, and do some little celebration wins, you know, it could be, oh, I've just got this, or, you know, don't wait to the end of a project to celebrate. Celebrate as you're going along. And that will help you to not only be grateful, but to realize exactly that you are progressing. Because sometimes you just feel like you're stagnant.
No, that's good. Yeah. So I suppose the important question is live, love by design. How do you design your life so you can flow easily in every possible way?
Okay. So it starts with actually asking, what does success mean to me? And most people have never asked themselves that question. They have taken on other people's definition of success, and then they wonder why it doesn't work for them. Either it's too much of a stretch or not enough of a stretch. But you don't just do it in overall. Well, you do it overall, but then you break it down into every single area of your life, realizing that, and making sure that if you succeed in your professional level, your relationships or your family are not suffering, because then that's not success. So and that's why you design it in all areas of your life, and then making sure that you're actually spending time in all areas of your life, conscious time, you're present, you're there. So I have 9 areas of life in my design. And I've broken them down because it's a lot to remember into 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are all about you, all about your relationships, all about your expertise, and all about your wealth creation. Now, I purposely set them in that order because you should come first. And most of the times we put ourselves last, and then we wonder why we're always exhausted. We're in anger. We're in frustration. But when we top ourselves up first, we then can go, because we're in overflow.
Yeah. No, I like that. And especially the way that you structure it like that, because so many people, busy lives, we focus so much on making the next deal. If you're an entrepreneur, getting the next client or selling more products. But that's the thing. If you're doing it all yourself, you're not outsourcing everything, and you're just constantly on the go, if you have a family, you're never going to see your family. If you're somebody that likes to go out and enjoy and do things, you're going to be that caught up in your own world that you're never really going to get a chance to. So no, I like that. I think it's really, you've got to take time for yourself every single day. Like, with me, I hurt my back when I was 17, so I actually flared up again, and I put on some weight this year. So it's just been, I've forced myself to go to the gym 5 days a week, and that's my little thing that I have to do. And I mean, I don't care if it's midnight, I'll still sit there in the apartment and do something, because I think self is really important. Yeah. And so many people don't spend that time for self. It could be something simple, like you say, going for a walk, but whatever it is, or meditate, or, be grateful, write in your gratitude journal. Like I always journal myself still. I didn't journal until a few years ago, but it's something that I do take time for. And just them simple little pleasures, and just making sure that we put ourselves first. So no, that's good. I like that.
And another little practice, which I love, is to schedule it. You have to schedule that time into your diary, because let's face it, if it's not on the schedule, we don't do it. So we need that. And having also great little projects which have nothing to do with, your work, just something that you think, oh, one day I'd love to do that. Start to, dedicate an hour a week, or an hour, every couple of days, just to start that little project. And you'll be amazed at how quickly you actually go, oh my God, it's done, So yeah.
So the people listening in that don't journal too much, how would you recommend that they sit down and schedule the stuff in so they actually look at it? Because it's great writing stuff down, but it's actually making sure we look back at it and don't have to set a reminder on our phone.
But see, writing it down is very important, because when you actually put your hand and your pen to the paper, you actually bring in so many other things of your body. So it's not just your mind that's thinking it. Like if you think it, you go, oh yeah, I can think it. But it's just completely different of the thought process, putting it onto paper and watching what flows. So my suggestion is just start 10 minutes a day, or just say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set the alarm 10 minutes earlier each morning. And I'm going to hop out of bed. I'm not even going to think about it. And I'm just going to write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it can be simple, but then as you get into the flow of doing that, you'll start to realize, oh my God, and before you know it, it'll be half an hour earlier, because it's a great practice. It sets you up so that you can easily cope with the rest of the day, because you have, given yourself this thanks, and the universe this thanks. So it's like you've got someone just coming along with you to actually go, you know what, you're grateful, I'll help you along the way. And you start to realize, I'm a great believer that there are no coincidences in the world. Everything happens for a reason. And you start to actually watch these coincidences, and you start to see these things come together because you become more aware. So you're present with yourself, and then you're more present with others. And it's amazing how things all just flow in your life, because life's meant to be easy. It's not meant to be the struggle that we've all made it. It's because we get so caught up in the have-tos, and we've, got to do this and all these sort of things, whereas we just allow, and Buddha has a great saying that everyone should meditate every day for 20 minutes. And if you don't have enough time, it should be an hour.
Yeah, well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I do like the way that you said to do that in the morning, because I think a lot of people get up, get ready, run out the door, have a shower, and they're off to work. Where, if you sit there and you set that time for yourself, you're starting that day with a positive affirmation, or you're using that positive mindset to really just, shift yourself to have a wonderful day using gratitude. So
you totally do. How many people get up and the first thing they look at is their phone? And before they know it, half an hour's gone past on stuff that really is someone else's agenda. It's not yours. Reclaim your day and make it so that, for the first 10 minutes, I'm going to do this and nothing else. Yeah. You've probably been to the bathroom first, but that's okay. I guess you need to do that.
But no, I think that's good. I think a lot of people that are listening in really need to implement that, because it's so easy to start off your day. Just with something positive. Just going to completely shift. Like, you're thinking about the energy that you're bringing in. Instead of like running around and scurrying around the house, getting ready and rushing off to work, like just give yourself that 10 minutes, or like you say, 20 minutes. I'm sure that'll push on further and further as you've gone.
It really will. Honestly, you wake up earlier and earlier. I know I do. I love it. It's the best part of the day anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Karen, for coming in and doing this interview. You really taught me a lot about how I should be getting back into my journaling again, and stop doing it in the afternoon or night. Maybe start doing it in the morning again.
You'll be nice and refreshed then.
Yeah. Now, look, we really appreciate it. You've given us a lot of tips. And for all those who are listening in and want to learn more about what Karen's doing, Live Love by Design work, please visit her website at livelovebydesign.com. You can also visit her at www.karenchaston.com.au. If you want to stay posted about all we're doing with these masterclasses, get a hold of our free giveaways, download our expert interviews, check out ahanalara.com/RBR show, and we'll get them goodies over to you straight away. For those listening in either on social media, the podcast, or YouTube, don't worry, I'll make sure all them links are there. So just basically look down, click on the hyperlink, and just go from there. Thank you for everyone else tuning in today. And again, thank you, Karen, for giving us your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I've loved chatting with you.
It's been awesome. And look, for all those that are going through crisis and loss, really hope we've helped you shift your energy today. Focus on gratitude. I think that's the most important thing that everyone can get out of this, like podcast or YouTube, whatever you're watching it on. Focus on them wonderful things that are happening for you and just move through your challenges and just create yourself an awesome life. We wish you all the best, and let's rise and rich together, and see you all soon. Thank you, and bye for now.